Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Ahman Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Also find our Overflow channel in podcast form. Just search wherever you get your podcasts. Packer Fan Total Access. I always screw that up. It's going to take a while to get used to putting that in the intro. It is February the 12th, joined alongside Tim. Good to have him back in the house. We're going to talk a little draft this morning. We're going to do a mock draft on the backside of this episode. In the meantime, we're going to talk draft board in general. I put together the rough draft of our cheat sheet for the draft board. If you guys don't know what that is, we'll explain exactly what that is. I'm also going to get it up in AI form, put it on the Patreon group, so you guys will have a quick little cheat sheet there too that maybe you can even print, hopefully. So we'll have that ready to roll. We'll do a mock draft. We're going to talk everything Packers. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. We are not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch everything we do here in the future. Tim, Bob, it's been forever, man. How you doing?
Happy to be back, man. I got the cup of diesel going. Ready, man. Let's talk some ball.
We got the Bustelo flowing over here, second cup. This stuff it's thicker than tar too, man. I'm telling you right now, that's the way you got to do it, right?
Yeah, cowboy coffee. That's what you need.
That's right. All right, we got everybody falling into the chat now. We got Chuck Jaggers in the house. He says, we mock. That's right, we mock. That's correct. We got Chad Inc. in here. Brambo, what's up, Brambo? Good to see you, buddy. Donovan Schilling in the house. We got Memphis Magic the Barber. Got them eye emojis out going, we doing a mock in here? All right, let's roll. So all the nerds come out when we talk mock draft, don't we? All just kind of come to, it's like, I don't know what the symbol would look like, like the bat symbol. I don't know if it would be like the silhouette of a guy in some glasses with a pocket protector and everything. You know what I mean?
Holding a clipboard or something.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah, everybody excited to see Tim back in here. Andy Dubs, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Packer Doug in the house. And we got Zach Will in here as well. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's get into, again, I want to just do a quick little segment here with the draft board. And you guys can find this draft board, obviously, over at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. So here's the updated board. Right now, we've got it sorted by final grade. You can see over to the right. It may be a little hard for y'all to see on the screen. I'll explain what we're going to do here. But with the cheat sheet, I got the rough draft together just to give you an idea, taking the notes. All right. So we got the rough draft put together. And what I'm going to do is compile that in a form where you guys will easily be able to see it in the Patreon group. So essentially what we do, Tim, I do this every year when I'm covering the draft or when I'm just kind of deep diving the draft. I like to focus on the top 100 prospects on our board. And what we do is we break them down in positions. So we'll have like cornerbacks. Here's the top 100 prospects at the cornerback position. Here's the defensive tackles. Here's the linebackers. Here's the offensive tackles, centers, guards, tight end. And then another one we're going to do this year is kick return specialists. I thought, why not dive into kick return specialists a little bit so we know when we get to the 7th round of our mock, hey, maybe we could grab one of these great kick returners from college football and be able to plug and play them as our new returner. Right now, I understand there's a portion of the fan base that wants Savion Williams returning kicks. I thought he done well. I really did. But if Savion's going to continue to step into a larger role in the offense, which I think Matt LaFleur and everybody wants him to do, then you may have to approach it a little bit different in that regard. And also, it's not like Savion lit the world on fire returning kicks last year. I don't think he was bad, but I do think that you could possibly get better. There's some of these guys, Tim, that are coming out in the draft. I mean, just to name a few of them, Concepcion, wide receiver. I think it's Zachariah Branch, I believe it is. He's in the 56th spot. Jadarian Price from the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I think he led all of college football last year with like 36 yards per return. He was unbelievable on returns. Now, will he be there? He's in the 60 spot for us. I don't know if I'm not saying we should take him at 52. The Packers may have a true first-round grade on him. He'd be best available. They could go that route. I don't know. I'd rather it not fall that way, but that's a great kick returner. You got Burks, another wide receiver, Beatty, Henderson, Thomas, Brown, Anthony. Anthony is from Wisconsin, right? You guys know about, I think it's Vinny Anthony, I believe is his name. Cauley Lacey. And then you got, of course, our boy Wetjen, or Weegan, I think is how they say the name. Is it Weegan? Do you know how to pronounce his name out of
I do
Iowa?
not. Do not.
So I've heard
I
people
don't want to
say
look stupid.
I've heard people say Wetgen, and then I've heard people say Weegan. And on the broadcast, it seemed like they said Weegan. So if anybody wants to correct that pronunciation, any Iowa fans in here, he's one that's very interesting because he's 413 on our big board. And there's a couple other spots that have him lower. So than that, or I'm sorry, higher than that. But again, as a kick returner, he kind of reminds me. I posted this in the Patreon group. Growing up as a Kentucky fan, if you guys know who Derek Abney was like one of the best players I ever seen played at the University of Kentucky. Now, obviously, he wasn't good enough to have a extended career in the NFL. I think he went undrafted. I want to say he signed with the Baltimore Ravens, and he was out of the league in no time. But the point is, he looks like that type of player. He's going to be a kick return specialist. I don't think he'll be able to contribute too much on offense outside of that, but who knows? Timmy kind of reminds you of like a Julian Edelman, and nobody expected Julian Edelman to come in the league and do what he did, you know?
It's true. And I love, and when you're talking about a return specialist, somebody, late round value, right? We got all these 7th round picks laying around at the back of this draft. If we can pick up a guy like that can be, solid in the return game. And you're right. I think we feel pretty good about our wide receiver room. We talked about Savion Williams. I'd like to see him more involved as a receiver as opposed to being leaned on to do a lot of special teams duties, so we'll see. But I think late round value, getting a return specialist is not the worst idea. I don't know if I'd take a swing, in the 2nd round with a guy like this, but certainly someone on our radar, like you said. What is he? 410 on our board, 415 on our board.
Yeah, I'm showing 413, but it's going to shuffle around a touch as we need to move forward for sure. So, yeah. And again, these are nobody's saying you should prioritize that. It's just been brung to my attention by Janice. I want to give a shout out to Janice over in the Patreon group, and there are others as well that have messaged me like, you need to check out Weegan, man. This guy he's a phenomenal kick returner. And again, we get to this point of the year where we don't truly care about that stuff, right? Yeah. And then you get in season and the special teams isn't up to par where we want. It's just like kicker. Nobody talks about kicker till we miss a kick. Now all of a sudden I can't believe Goody didn't fix this. As if people were talking in the offseason going, we need to sign that guy. We need to draft this stuff. So it's just funny how that all works. And I'm as guilty as anyone. So let's just go through real quick. We're going to sort by position, start with cornerback. I think we would all agree that's a position of need. Here are your top prospects when it comes to cornerback. All right. And I'll go down the list here real quick. So you got Mansour Delaney, I think is how you say his name, or it's Delane out of LSU. He's your top corner. Got a 9 grade. He is going to be long gone, right? You got Jermod McCoy is 2nd. He's 13th on our board overall. You got Avion Terrell, who is 20th on our board. Colton Hood out of Tennessee is 29th on our board. Chris Johnson's one we looked up and got at 52 once or twice, Tim. He's out of San Diego State. He is currently in the 34th spot on our board. If you can get the 34th best prospect at a position of need like cornerback at the 52nd pick, you're really, really liking how that falls into place. We got D'Angelo Pons in the 40 spot, right? You've got Keith Abney. Abney is going to land in the 43 spot currently. You've got Cease. I think that's how his name is. Cease is how you say Brandon Cease out of South Carolina. You guys correct me if I got that name wrong. He's in the 44 spot. You've got Keontae Scott is a very interesting one, Tim, because I've got him still lit up blue to trigger for us. Hey, look, they're saying he's a cornerback, but he played safety. So we got the V. If you guys see a position right here with a V in it, right, that simply means he's versatile. Okay, so take another look. He might be more of a slot corner. He may be able to play all positions, which adds value, but that's just something to kind of keep an eye on there as well. And then, of course,
to Javon Bullard type of guy, right? You can put him on the back end. You can put him in the slot. Yeah,
absolutely. And then I'm always going to screw this name up. I've seen it pronounced several ways as well. Is it Igbinosun? Igbinosun, maybe?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Cornerback out of Ohio State. Pretty good football player, man. We got a 77.9 grade on him. He's sitting in the 78 spot. So that's one of those rare players that if you go offensive line 52 and then you come back to 84 and he's sitting there, that would be good value there at the cornerback position. Then you got Julian Neal out of Arkansas. He is sitting in the 80 spot. And then, of course, Chandler Rivers has recently dropped. Now, why did he drop? You guys know we had him as like a slam dunk pick earlier in the process. Well, we just switched over to Tankathon, Okay. We went from Walter Football to Tankathon. I think Walter Football had him higher. Tankathon has him at 89. And then also Dane Brugler's top 100 came out and he's in the 88 spot. Now the consensus big board had him at 98. The PFF big board was much higher at 68. We've got him sitting in the 81 spot. So that might be a guy, if he's around when you pick at 84, makes a lot of sense at the cornerback position. So those are the top 100 prospects at the cornerback position that made our cheat sheet. Does that make sense, Tim?
It does. And it's something we need to pay attention to because taking a swing at corner with that second round pick might not be the worst approach in the world, right?
Absolutely. Now, we also talked about offensive line and specifically center. I think we would all agree, the large majority of us would agree, we'd love to get Tyler Linderbaum in free agency. We've now debunked all the myths that the Packers don't have the money to do that, right? We know that's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of doom and gloom. We've shown you time and time again how you could free up that money in a split second to be able to get a player of Linderbaum's level. Now, let's look at the centers in the draft. So you'll notice they're going to be lit up blue, okay, on the interior offensive lineman tab. All right. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. If there's another player that, hey, no, they're listing him as a center. Sometimes as you get closer to the draft, all of a sudden they change them. They say, okay, this is a guard that's going to play center. So we'll all share that information, especially over in the Patreon group. But the top center available will be Connor Lew. Now, Connor Lew's lit up red because he's got the ACL, probably won't be available till October. I don't think anybody would be excited about spending the 52nd pick on a center that may not even play his rookie year, depending on how the rehab goes, right? So that'd be a little bit of a gamble. I think I speak for everyone. I feel confident saying I speak for everyone when I say we are tired of drafting injured players.
Yeah.
Like, we need to get healthy at some point, right? So Connor Lew is in the 58 spot for us. Then we got Jake Slaughter. Jake Slaughter is in the 71st spot. Then Brian Parker would be next at the center position. He's in the 82 spot. And then Pat Coogan is in the 89 spot. So Logan Jones will be the next center. He's just outside of the top 100. So again, you've got 4 centers in the top 100, Tim. So if you can get Jake Slaughter at 52, according to our board, it's a bit of a reach. So it might make sense to not take Jake Slaughter at 52, maybe go offensive tackle or guard if there's better value there, and then come back at 84. And whoever's available out of Jake Slaughter, Brian Parker, and Pat Coogan, maybe that would be the way to go at 84. Yep. How do you see that? Would you rather reach on a center if we don't go get Tyler Linderbaum or McGovern or somebody in free agency? Would you rather reach on a center knowing we get the best center in the draft, guaranteed at 52, or would you rather wait and use the cluster buster method there with Parker and Coogan?
I did a mock last night, just kind of screwing around, and I was able to get Slaughter at 84. So
that'd be great.
I do like that approach. Or, like you said, with Connor Lew, we have this, guy coming off of injury, but if he fell, if that causes him to fall on draft day, I'm not opposed to taking him later. If he falls out, into that second, third round range, you never know. But as far as reaching at 52, I don't know. I don't think I would take Jake Slaughter at 52. I think I would roll the dice and think I could get him at 84. That'd be my take on it.
Yeah, I think I agree, man. Because again, when we started the process, he was much higher, and he's since dropped a little bit. And the reason being is Dane Brugler has him at 83, and Tankathon has him at 84. Before that, his PFF grades. I mean, he was the 8th. His PFF grades are what really stand out to me. I mean, starting in 2023, he was the 9th highest graded center in all of college football. Over 400 teams with centers, right? So there's 400 starting centers. He was 9th best. That was in 23. In 24. He was 6th best. In 25, he was 8th best. So you're talking about really, really consistent play on a bad program too. Yeah. He's one of the few highlights of the Florida Gators program at the moment. Sorry if you're a Florida fan out there. I'm just speaking what I know is
they got a pretty good kicker though. They got a pretty good kicker too.
They do, Tim. That they do. We need to do a deep dive. That's probably next on my list, as I'm going to do a quick little deep dive in all the rookie kickers coming out and try to key in on maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 kickers. Like, hey, I would be okay with a late round pick there, or possibly bring in a couple of these guys as undrafted free agents to let them compete with Brandon McManus. McManus still may end up being the best choice, but sure. It's such a tough situation. It is. So again, with Jake Slaughter, the PFF big board had him at 78. Consensus big board had him at 93. Tankathon 84. Dane Brugler had him at 83 as well. So the PFF grades are what's kicking him up. So I'm with you, Tim. The whole point there is probably want to hold off until 84 with Jake Slaughter if he's there. And again, if you sign Tyler Linderbaum, I don't
Right.
think you're spending a second round pick on a guy that you know is not going to beat out Linderbaum for the starting center position unless there's multi-position value, which we've all still got PTSD from that, right? Moving these
True.
offensive linemen all over the place. So,
And we know when it comes to Slaughter, he's pretty much a pure center, right? We haven't seen a lot of, you know, guard or tackle play out of him. So
yeah. Now let's fall back and look at guard real quick. I think it's worth mentioning there's only 3 guards in our top 100. Okay, you've got Lone, however you say the name, Loane maybe. He is out of Memphis. All right. He's in the 15 spot on our board. So he'll probably be long gone. That'll be your first guard taken off the board. Then you got Pregnon, guard out of Oregon. All right. He's in the 46 spot. And then we got to fall down to Chase Basantis, who's sitting in the 73 spot. So essentially, if you're picking at 52 and Pregnon is there, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you go get a guard in the first round. If you are getting the second best guard in the draft, I wouldn't rule that out. And if you get him and we do decide to move on from Aaron Banks and you just plug and play Chase Basantis right in at left guard, I don't hate that idea. But the point is, when you looked at cornerback, we had what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, probably about 12 or 13 prospects in our top 100. When you get to center, there's only 4. When you get to, and one of those is injured, you get to guard, there's only 3. So you're slim pickings at the interior offensive line within the top 100. Obviously, if they can play and they've got the measurables, they're going to play tackle over guard. There's more money there. There's more value there. You're going to get drafted higher. We'll get into tackles next. But that's the big thing that sticks out to me there, Tim, is Pregnon's one that at 52, I wouldn't hate that pick. I wouldn't hate it at all.
neither would I. But it's easy to see how there might be more value at 52 in the cornerback crop of talent. However, knowing that if you go corner and you pass up on a guard or a center, chances are it's going to be slim pickings once you hit 3rd and 4th round. These guys are going to be off the board immediately. So it's a decision I'm glad I don't have to make. I feel for the guys in the front office as they're doing their mocks and getting ready for this draft here in a couple months. So it's a tough choice, man. Really is.
Yeah. All right. So next we're going to go offensive tackle. I wouldn't roll this out. We love drafting tackles and kicking them into guard. So Spencer Fano, offensive tackle out of Utah. He's in the 9 spot. You've got Muagoa, if I'm saying it right, out of Miami. Francis Muagoa I don't even know. I'm even going to try.
Who?
Thanks, Snoop. The names blow me away every year. It's like just when I think, okay, this year, I'm glad that year is behind us. Next year won't be that bad. And then we get to the next year, I'm like, this redneck can't keep up. So anyway, he is in the 11 spot. Caden Proctor out of Alabama is in the 17 spot. All right. You got Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle from Georgia, is in the 27 spot. You've got Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle from Utah. He is sitting in the 35 spot. Then our boy Blake Miller. We've drafted Blake Miller at 52, right? He's in the 38 spot. That's great, great value. Now, when you get to Jennings Dunker is 49th on our big board. I'd be okay with him at 52. And again, some people project him as a guard. Some of these guys may shift over to the guard position by the time our board's complete and the draft gets here. But as it sits right now, we're going to kind of leave it where it's at. So those are a handful of guys you want to look for. You've also got Ihanakor, Max Ihanakor out of Arizona State. He's in the 52 spot. You got Tiernan. He's in the 55 spot out of Northwestern. You got Delby Lemieux, tackle out of Dartmouth. He is currently in the 72 spot. And then you got Austin Barber out of Florida. That's Jake Slaughter's teammate down there with the Gators. He's in the 87 spot. So here, Tim, with tackle, you've got just as many options really as you do at cornerback. So if I had to bet on what position the Packers would draft with their 52nd pick, I'd probably put money on corner or offensive tackle just based on the numbers and how they fall. Does that make sense?
It does, especially since we've already had the defensive lineman conversation, right? You could go early, but it might screw up your whole board if you go early on the D line. So I could see it being a corner or O line, guard or tackle.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, like we said, we got to see what happens with free agency, right? Are we gonna make a move and solve this center issue before we even worry about drafting someone? It could really change our approach.
It would change it tremendously. And what we're going to do with our mock draft here in a few minutes, guys, we're just going to jump in as if we didn't fill any needs. So we're going to treat it like all the needs still exist because we've been doing, the off-season modeler and this and that, and we're showing how you can make the cap work and go get someone Hell, there was one we did the other day where we focused on signing cornerbacks, and we added like 5 people to the roster, stayed $9 million under the cap, and were able to go under. That's probably the one I felt the best about, and that didn't include having our boy Linderbaum at center. And you guys know I'm a big Linderbaum. I would love to see them sign him. But if you go cornerback and you can get it at what the market value is projecting on like 2 or 3 different sites, you could land 2 solid corners. And I'm not saying they're like number 1 caliber corner, but I do think they would be the top 2 corners on our roster day 1 of camp. If you go that route, you can fix the cornerback position that way. The problem is if you're looking at it strictly from a draft board perspective, you go, I don't want to get too aggressive in free agency with corners because we got a boatload of corners we like in the draft. You know what I mean? So that's where it gets a little bit finicky. So if you went supply and demand, I can see how the goal would be, no, let's go offensive line in free agency. But another position here is defensive tackle. I want to hit this real quick before we move on to the mock draft. So here are the defensive tackle cheat sheet list members. All right. You got Caden McDonald. He's sitting in the 21 spot. Caleb Banks is in the 23 spot. Peter Woods is 31. My boy Kristen Miller, 33. Then you got Lee Hunter, big dog Lee Hunter out there at 41. And then it drops off to Jackson here, Darrell Jackson Jr., who the Packers met with out of Florida State. He's in the 91 spot. And then Big Citrus just squeaked into the top 100.
Here's a guy.
So what you're seeing with the defensive tackle position, Tim, is you've got 21, 23, 31, 33, 41. Those are all kind of in the same ballpark as each other. And then it drops off dramatically to Darrell Jackson and Big Citrus. So if Lee Hunter, Kristen Miller, Peter Woods, Caleb Banks, or Caden McDonald, any of those guys are available at 52, makes a lot of sense to pull the trigger there. The problem is when we did our mock drafts, it never happened that way. Maybe it'll happen this morning. We'll pull the trigger on a 3-tech. I don't know. But what do you think about D-tackle?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I was screwing around, did a mock, and I took Big Citrus at 52 and was able to get Slaughter at 84. But after that, the rest of my board was a dumpster fire. So it all depends on what the approach is. Honestly, I've said this before. I don't care. O-line, D-line, give me trenches, man. We need trenches. I know corner is a need as well. And, we talked about the value at corner, going there in the second round since we don't pick in the first. But can't go wrong with trenches. And being a defensive guy, I'm not going to be mad if we take a defensive tackle, at 52. But I do think, I'm with you, Clay. It might make more sense to go guard or tackle at that spot.
Losmel in the chat says, Goody likes those SEC guys. He does. And now one of his right-hand men that he just hired from Auburn's former GM. He also spent some time at LSU, kind of put together that top 10 class and transfer portal down there with Brian Kelly before he got crap canned. He's a guy that is very, very familiar with the SEC as well. So we'll probably see our share of SEC guys, no doubt about it. 2-0 for this says, I think defensive tackle should be a free agency move for a starting option right away. Maybe draft later rounds, but for the current roster, free agent would be the best. So looking at that, 2-0 for this, I think it's a great point. We found 3 that we liked in free agency, right? And I'm going to extend this list and give you guys a free agency cheat sheet list as well. That's the goal if I have time. I'm making a lot of promises, my mouth's writing a lot of checks that my butt might not be able to cash here, but defensive tackle is David Onyemata, Logan Hall, and Calais Campbell. Those are 3 that really piqued my interest. And we were able to sign those guys the other night. We actually did one where we focused on D tackle, and we signed both Onyemata and Logan Hall. And again, that's market value according to Spot Track. That's market value according to Stick to the Model, all that stuff, right? So we'll see. We know that stuff is never spot on with the market value. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, depending on the supply and demand for that specific position across the league. But yeah, I would be okay with that too. You get a veteran presence inside. And when you look at D tackle, again, we showed you it's thin at D tackle this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At least in the top 100 prospects. So that would make a lot of sense if you went into free agency and you got D tackle and you shored that up, and then you came back in the draft and you went cornerback, or maybe even offensive tackle / interior offensive line, go that route. That would make a lot of sense too. So
we've also center, if you have to go center because you spent your capital in free agency on defensive tackle, right? And maybe we're not able to make a move at center.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just a quick rundown, guys, of our cheat sheet and our top 100 prospects at the positions of need for the Packers. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments, how do you feel about that list? Is there somebody maybe we left off that you like? Or maybe you love the list. Just hit us with a Go Pack Go in the comments. We would greatly appreciate that. And also hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch our live streams here in the future. We appreciate y'all. All right, let's move along to the mock draft. Tim, I'm excited about this one, man. We're not handcuffed in this one. We can go any route we want to go. We know what the needs are. It's not like, oh, well, we signed this, so therefore we're not going to draft there. We're just going to kind of roll through it and take who we think is the best available, and also, lined up with the needs that we have without using free agency at all. So listen, there's going to be guys that we take here that some folks are going to say, oh, no, I do this in free agency. I got you. I completely understand. The whole purpose here is we didn't sign anybody in free agency, okay? We are just strictly going off of how the roster, and if we were going to try to repair this as much as possible when it comes to the draft. All right, so let's dive into it. Let's start. We'll go ahead and speed this thing up. So we're going to be picking at 52. No trading. We're not doing that cheesy stuff here. All right, not going to happen. So best available linebacker Jake Golday. Just so you know, he is on our cheat sheet. Actually, no, he is not on our cheat sheet. That is wild. So Golday is 51st on PFFs, and he is not on our cheat sheet. That may be a mistake on my part. I don't think it is, but let me just double check real quick. I'm going to pull it up off here at the board. We're already off track, Tim. We didn't even get to our first pick, man. Look at this.
Hey, that's all right. It's getting real now. We gotta get it done. Due diligence. Let's go.
I want to see where Golday is on our board because we got him in the 48 spot, so I overlooked that one. I got to get him on the board. So he would be in there with CJ. Let me just make a note there. Golday. So he'd be after CJ Allen. So that'd be the 47th or 48th best prospect if we took him right now. I'm not saying we should take a stack backer. We're just simply pointing out that these are the things that are going to happen, right? For sure. Next, you got Blake Miller. We talked about Blake Miller. Blake Miller at offensive tackle out of Clemson. We took him before. He's in the 38th spot on our board. That's great value there. Romello Height. We don't have edges listed, so we're just going to move on from that. Chase Basantis, interior offensive line. Remember, we talked about him. He's in the 73 spot. That'd be quite the reach at 52. D'Angelo Pons, I know he's a fan favorite. He's one of my favorite cornerbacks in the draft. He's sitting in the 40 spot on our board. Makes a lot of sense. Now, the second we draft him, we know all the Packers draft gurus come out of the woodworks and go, he's too short. They'll never draft him.
Too short is a rapper from Oakland, California, not a cornerback. All right. He's not too short.
Make sure the kids have got the earmuffs on if you're listening to Too Short. Right? I'm just going to say that. I grew up with some Too Short. So, it's funny. Me and Tim grew up at the same exact time. So, D'Angelo Pons will be in the 40 spot. Right now, it's Blake Miller is leading the way. All right, you got Caleb Tiernan. Tiernan is currently – where is Tiernan at? So, Tiernan, I think, is outside. No, there he is. He's in the 55 spot. Dante Corleone's low. Chris Johnson. Here's Chris Johnson entering the chat. And Chris Johnson is sitting in the 34 spot, boys. Chris Johnson would be the pick here, I believe.
If we don't take D'Angelo Pons here, Donovan Schilling's going to lose it. I'm just letting you know.
So and again, if you think Pons is better than Chris Johnson, I get it. I totally understand. Let me explain why we've got him higher on our board, okay? So Pons, when you look at the PFF grades, they are outstanding. 89, 83, 89. That's as consistent as it's going to come, right? Now, again, what's everybody going to say? 5'9". There's no way Goody's going to draft a 5'9", 173-pound corner. I have no problem with that. If he plays like a freaking Tasmanian devil, pull the trigger, go get your guy, right? That's just the way I see football. It's very rare that I watch a game and go, man, if that guy was 2 inches taller, he'd have made that play. But more times than not, I go, he got his ass cooked on that out and up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's just kind of how I see that.
You play DB with your feet, right? You should be playing with your brain and your feet. You know, if you're a little undersized, if you can play the position well, it really shouldn't matter.
Yeah. So if we went strictly off PFF grades, did you say it was Doug or Donovan Schilling in the chat, right? That
Donovan wants D'Angelo Pons for sure.
Okay. So Chris Johnson's PFF grade, 74, 74, 91.6 this year. Now, granted, he played at San Diego State, right? D'Angelo Pons played in the national champion Indiana Hoosiers. So I think we all know who played better opponents there, right? So you got to take that into consideration. But if you were to look at the board strictly And to understand why we have Chris Johnson above D'Angelo Pons, here is the reason. D'Angelo Pons did not get a bonus at the Senior Bowl, okay? Chris Johnson got a 5-point bonus at the Senior Bowl. Now let's go to our head scouts here, okay? DJ did not have Chris Johnson in his top 100, all right? Or was it a top 50? I think it was top 50. Yeah, it was top 50. He also did not have D'Angelo Pons there. So we asked Daniel Jeremiah, and he says they're both not worthy of this pick, according to his top 50, right? So Tankathon has D'Angelo Pons at 48. They have Chris Johnson at 45. So Tankathon likes him better. Let's go to Dane Brugler. Dane Brugler has Chris Johnson at 38th, and then Dane Brugler has D'Angelo Pons at 40th. So if we went strictly to our lead scouts, Dane Brugler and Tankathon, they would both say Chris Johnson, okay? If we went to the PFF grades, it would suggest in 2025, Chris Johnson was the better cornerback than D'Angelo Pons, just strictly PFF. However, consistently, D'Angelo Pons has done it for 3 years now, as opposed to Chris Johnson only doing it for 1 year. Yeah. So you can see how this is a tough decision.
We have the measurables on him too. What's
Chris Johnson
on the height and weight? Okay, 6 feet, 195. So
that's right there.
Yeah, and what's Pons? 5'10", 5'9", something like that.
5'9", 176 pounds. I think. So.
Okay, yeah. So he's giving up a little meat, a little bit of meat. Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of those things where, do you stick to the board, or do you just stick to what Donovan Schilling's saying? You know what I mean? And I appreciate the enthusiasm. I really do. So everybody in the chat, I just want to be clear. Our board says that Chris Johnson's the better player. All right. Donovan Schilling says, give us Short Kings a shot. I love it. Everybody in the chat, let me know who you would take. We've got it narrowed down to 2. Actually, is Blake Miller still the better pick here, Tim? I think he actually was, wasn't he? No. Chris Johnson's even higher than Blake Miller. Blake Miller, too, is higher than D'Angelo Pons, just so y'all know. 39.6 to D'Angelo Pons 41.1. So he's 1 tier higher, too. So I'm gonna throw it out there. Everybody in the chat, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Chris Johnson, say Johnson or Pons at cornerback? And then also Miller, put him in there too. Johnson, Miller, or Pons? Johnson, Miller, or Pons? We're going to let you guys make the pick here. All right. Donovan Schilling surprisingly says Pons. All right. So Blake Miller, about said Donovan Schilling. Blake Miller, D'Angelo Pons, or Johnson. So it's tied right now. All right. Mike says, who tackles better? Probably Pons, to be honest with you. He's a dog out there. It looks like the majority of the people are saying Johnson. Yeah, they got a tackle too. Zach Will. Mike Z says Pons. Andy Dove says Short Kings Pons.
Oh, wow.
Mike Superfan says Pons. So what's the count there now? Somebody tally it up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's tied 4-4 right now, isn't it? So the next one will be let's see here. 1.
And nobody's voting for Blake Miller, right?
That's wild, isn't it? That's wild. Because Blake Miller's the better Let's look at Blake Miller real quick. And again, we'll go with whatever you guys want. And we'll keep up. See if any other Johnsons come in. If they don't, we'll just go with Pons. Donovan Schilling. Look at Donovan Schilling voting twice, Tim. What the hell? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Is he too old for this? Cornerbacks are supposed to make tackles?
Not in Green Bay, evidently. Jesus, Pete, right? Blake Miller here. You see 72, 75, 78. Granted, he played in the ACC. How good's, you know what I mean? You got to take that into consideration. His best game was at BC, right? I mean, they did play LSU. Georgia Tech had a pretty good program this year. They played them. Florida State was up and down. Yeah, I mean, that's when you look at who they played. Penn State there at the end, but Penn State was definitely in total rebuild mode. So you don't love the level of competition they played there, to be honest with you, as opposed to someone like we talked about with like D'Angelo Pons. Look at who they played. As soon as I say that, is that Old Dominion, Kennesaw State? What are we doing here, guys? Let's see, Illinois, Oregon, a good program, right? Penn State's down. Wisconsin's down right now. Purdue's decent. Ohio State, there you go. He played horrible against Ohio State, 46.3, but they lost that game. Alabama, Oregon, Miami down the stretch. Man, he played his best football down the stretch. Look at that, Tim, with Pond. That's wild. I mean, you're talking about when the lights came on, 79 against Oregon in the playoffs, 85 in the championship game there against Miami. That's impressive. It is. So what do you think the vote is?
We're still tied because Too Old for This says Pons, and then we got Jay Call said Johnson. So we're We're still tied. We're gonna have to break the tie ourselves, Clay.
All right. Let's see what Packer
shout out,
Doug.
Yeah, Packer Doug hit it on the head here. Good point.
Read it, Tim.
Just doesn't see 170 pounds lasting too long in the NFL unless you're constantly making business decisions out there. I mean, it's true. Your build can have a lot to do with your durability, especially when you're playing on the defensive side of the ball. We'll put it that way. I mean, you could be in a situation where you're getting truck sticked constantly by big receivers and big tight ends in this league. So it's a valid point, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great point too. And Janice, I think, just broke the tie. Janice comes in and says Johnson. We're going Chris Johnson. All right. And I think everybody agrees they don't want Blake Miller. So, all right, we're going to draft.
Daryl says Donovan Pons.
This stream's going to go 13 hours, Tim. Lord have mercy. All right. Daryl.
No, we're going with Johnson.
All right. We're going. All right. We're going. I don't know, man. It's going to get loud if we go Johnson. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go Johnson.
The pick is in. Sorry, Donovan.
So with the 52nd overall pick, all right, the Green Bay Packers are going to select. God, I'm struggling here. I'm just waiting to see is there anybody else.
Wait, well, hold on. We've got who's Mart? We got Mart in the chat. I would take Miller. So we've got to vote for Miller.
All right. I'm gonna piss everybody off. We're going Blake Miller at tackle. Look at that, boys. Threw the swerve on him. Threw the swerve. So. All right, we ended up going offensive tackle Blake Miller. You guys couldn't get your crap together and come up with a unanimous vote, so we went Blake Miller. All right, just keep in mind, make a mental note. Pons, that's going to be a huge decision, Tim, and it's hard for me to go against what the chat's saying there. You know what I mean? Like they make a great valid point with Pons because we heard the same thing about Brian Branch. I don't know if Brian Branch was quite that small, but still, it's like at some point we got to stop pretending like, well, they got to be a perfect measurable, like do they play good football or not, right? So there you go, Donovan Schilling. I'm reporting everyone's profile that voted Johnson. So just keep in mind
we're not taking a corner in this draft then, right?
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. You get to this point, and again, this is assuming we do nothing in free agency, right?
Yeah.
So now I think we would all agree offensive line was a bigger need than corner, right? And keep in mind too, there's more corners on this list than there are, not necessarily offensive tackles, but definitely interior offensive line. But now we're probably going to be forced to go interior offensive line if the board falls just right, So, so that's Johnson. I just want to make a note of these guys so we know when we pick that's kind of the three we narrowed it down to. All right, moving along, Tim. What are we thinking needs here, guys? We went offensive tackle Miller. He'll probably compete at tackle and most likely play guard, I would imagine. Everybody's already saying Dunker, right? Already saying Dunker. So
we just look at corner just to see who else is up there.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to list corner. I'm going to list. Let's just keep it on corner to keep it simple for a minute. So here's what we got available at corner. You got Devin Moore out of Florida. He is not in our top 100. You got Stooks. Stooks is not in our top 100. Will Lee is not in our top 100. Xavier Scott is not in our top 100. Malik Muhammad is just outside of our top 100. Davison, there's our boy Igbinosun, right? Igbinoson's in the 78 spot here, Tim.
Yep.
And then Julian Neal is in the 80 spot. And I imagine Chandler Rivers is probably down there too. Is he not? No, he's already gone. That was interesting.
Those would be our guys if we're going to take a corner, right?
If we're taking a corner, it's going to come down to Igbinosun or Julian Neal. Those are the picks. If we go corner here, okay? Now, let's do this. Let's remove corner. And let's take a quick look at interior offensive line. Keelan Rutledge, Bo Stevens is down there. Bo Stevens has dropped on our board pretty significantly. He's outside of the top 100 as it sits right now. That was with the addition of our lead scout information, right? Now, if we include Jennings Dunker, which some people are saying is going to play guard, we've got Jennings Dunker in the 49 spot. So it was kind of a joke. I went Miller with the pick earlier, but the fact that Dunker is still there at 49 and he's the tackle that's right behind Miller on our board, it's a good sign that, like, okay, you can get good value at tackle if you wanted to at 84. So that's another thing that kind of lends credence to you probably should have went corner with the first pick, right? So Brian Parker's there as well. Brian Parker's in the 82 spot. We still need a center, Tim. That's what's crazy, And you'll notice here, our boy Jake Slaughter is gone. All right. So Slaughter's gone. Brian Parker's there at 80. We got him at 82 on our board. And then is Pat Coogan gone too? Pat Coogan's gone, ain't he? Or no, Pat Coogan's way down there. So you could get Pat Coogan. I would rather get Pat Coogan because he's 89th on our board. I'd rather try to get him at the next pick than honestly, than go with center right here in Brian Parker, if that makes sense.
So now Parker does have, so he's listed as a tackle, but he's got center experience.
You said Parker, yeah. The rumor is he cross trained during Senior Bowl week, and they were saying they're projecting him as a center. It's kind of like, remember his teammate, you guys had to remind me the other day, and I still can't remember it, Duke boy that ended up getting drafted, I think, by Tampa Bay. It was the same thing. He was listed as a tackle/guard, and all of a sudden, no, he's going to be a center. Now, I don't know if he ended up playing center when he got drafted, but it is amazing how these guys are very similar. There's an ascending player with Brian Parker, though, 70, 78, 85 on the PFF grades. I just want to take a look at Pat Coogan because, again, he's significantly lower on the board. And it's kind of wild to me that he is that low. He started off kind of high, 66, 72, 78. So he's ascending as well, you know. And again, national championship. What did he do down the stretch? Pretty good football, right? At Ohio State, he struggled, but then Bama 73, Oregon 69, Miami 76. Not bad there. So if we held off and tried to get Pat Coogan in the fourth round, what should we go with here, Tim? It'd probably be corner, wouldn't it?
It would have to be corner in my mind.
Yeah.
And
if
we've got it down to 2.
Mm-hmm. And those, again, are Igbinosun, right? 71, 65, 81 was the PFF grades. Played pretty good football down the stretch there. 68 against Indiana and 70 against Miami. Not bad. And then the other one at corner was Tim, sir, can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can.
All right.
You back, Clay?
We're on the phone at the moment. So, yeah, the internet went down. I apologize, everybody who's watching the stream here. So, obviously, we can't put anything up on the screen. We've been having problems with the internet here, and it's been, like, kind of popping on and off. Let me see if I can get it to reload. It looks like it might have reset for me. If it did, we'll be able to pick up right where we left off. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I think we're good. Hold on just a second. See if I'm back. Just all right, Tim, can you hear me now, sir?
Copy that.
All right, so here's what
Dub said Donovan shut the stream off.
That's right.
He's still mad about D'Angelo Pons.
I can't believe there's still 60 people in here watching. That's wild. All right, so let's see if we can get this straightened out. Let me get this knucklehead off the screen here. I don't know who that guy is. So what's been going on with the internet, I don't want to waste too much time here, but basically what's been happening is the internet's been going out for like 30 seconds at a time and then just coming back on. They're supposed to be coming out tomorrow and looking at it. They got your boy to upgrade and pay extra money, and it still didn't fix the problem. So they got my daddy like that on a Cadillac years ago. Remember that on Friday when all right, so here we go. Look, we're right in the same spot where we were. So we were trying to decide between cornerback, right? Julian Neal and Igbinosun.
Igbinosun seems like more of a man corner, right?
I think so, yeah. When you looked at kind of the stats here, let's see, your coverage grade 81, 80 man coverage, 70.5 zone. And then if you went to our boy Julian Neal,
the opposite. He's
totally the opposite. 66 man, 78 zone. So when you put it that way, it does kind of feel like Igbinosun would be the better corner, just because you could probably teach some zone principles a little easier than someone who's sticky in man coverage,
Exactly.
And let's look at size real quick. 6'2", 195 for Igbinosun, if that measurable is correct. And then Julian Neal, of course, is 6'2", 208. So both these guys are big boys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Goody has a type, right?
Mm-hmm. And if we stuck to our board here, right, and we just wanted to go with, okay, who is the better corner? I'm trying to remember where he's at. Igbinosun is in the 78 spot. So Igbinosun 78, Julian Neal's 80. So we're going to go Igbinosun here, Tim. We're going to go cornerback, Igbinosun out of Ohio State. You good with it?
Yes, sir. The pick is in.
All right, so pick 84. We're going Davison, Igbinosun, cornerback out of Ohio State. Bang. All right, so you got your cornerback in Iggy. All right, and it is worth mentioning that when you made that pick, another cornerback that was available was Julian Neal. These are all going to be cluster busters. The reason I'm taking notes because I want to do a little deep dive on all of them and see what's the better, you know what I mean? The better. So now let's go back. Still there, Tim. He is. Boom. So it's going to look like a reach if we take him here. They got him ranked 168. We're picking at 120. However, like we pointed out, Pat Coogan is actually in the 89 spot on our board. So they're going to give us a bad grade if we take Coogan here. But boy, oh boy, does this make sense, man. It makes a lot.
I say run the card, Clay.
A lot of sense to take him, right? Yeah. No reason to drag it out, right?
Yeah.
And again, so Brian Parker's already gone. We kind of expected that. So what we did, guys, just to recap, at pick 84, we could have taken Brian Parker, but we had him 82 on our board. We had Pat Coogan 89. So it's like the value is so close there. If we can get Pat Coogan at the next round, that's way better value at pick 120 as opposed to taking Brian Parker, who's a slightly better prospect at pick 84, if that makes sense. So Donovan Schilling says, just rewind and go get D'Angelo Pons. So all right, let's do it. Let's run the card. We're going to go with D'Angelo Pons, if I can find him again. Is he really that far? I'm sorry, not D'Angelo Pons. Pat Coogan's his teammate. Pat Coogan.
Donovan Schilling is in your head, man.
I'm telling you. Part of me wants to wait, Tim, and go, man, is he going to be there when we pick 158? Because his average draft position is 151.5. That's just cutting
about Coogan?
Yeah, Coogan. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. It is tempting.
It's very tempting, but if we miss out on Pat Coogan, who is going to play center?
Right, and we're assuming we didn't make a move in free agency.
Correct.
So I say take Coogan here. It may look like a reach, but not according to where we have him.
Right, yeah. So we shall see how it plays out in real life, but in the meantime, we're going to go Pat Coogan here at pick, whatever it is, 120. We're going center out of Indiana. Pat Coogan. Love it. All right, so there is your center. So far, guys, we have went offensive tackle, Blake Miller, cornerback, Igbinosun, center, Pat Coogan. I really feel like we worked the board really nicely there. So what other needs will we say we have here, Tim?
Defensive line.
We're done with offensive line, I feel like, right? Like we're good. We feel good about what we did in offensive line.
We went tackles floating around.
Yeah, we went corner. So let's see. I wish we'd have taken a look at D tackle the last few picks because we know we're in no man's land now.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to see here. Dominic Orange, obviously, he is long gone. Darrell Jackson is long gone. So, yeah, we're out of our top 100 prospects at D tackle. And listen, we shouldn't act surprised because going into this, when we did the big board deep dive on the segment right before the live mock here, remember we said, man, D tackle gets thin quick, real quick. So that's a perfect example of if you don't take one at 52 and you may have to reach for Darrell Jackson or Big Citrus, maybe Lee Hunter's there. If he is, that's a great pick. But if they're not there, you find yourself in no man's land with defensive tackles. So this is one that you just can't do. You can't. If we go get Caleb Proctor, right? He's not in our top 100, but that's that smaller school kid that we talked about. So,
and it's still a reach at 158.
Let's see here.
Where's he on our board?
We've actually got him 134. So according to our board, it would not be a reach. It's just every time we draft him, people get upset. They're like, "No, it's too small of a school." You know what I'm saying? Like,
what about Cole Brevard out of Texas? Where's he on our board?
Would you say Brevard? Yeah, he's way down. He's got a 182 grade. Caleb Proctor's got a 122.5.
So we've cracked the code. We have got to figure out either center or defensive tackle in free agency. Gotcha. One of those spots has got to be addressed because it's proving to be very difficult to address both of those in the draft.
Yeah, and again, if you went that route, center or D tackle in free agency, center, it's Linderbaum, obviously, and also maybe bring back Sean Ryan as a backup, but we're not seeing him as the fix for center, right? So it'd be Linderbaum at center, and then you got three options at defensive tackle in Onyemata, Logan Hall, and Calais Campbell. So you've got some options. I'm with you, Tim. Center and D tackle, free agency, that should be the goal, man, for sure.
I agree. Unless we're going to just make Zach Tom the damn center already and put somebody at right tackle. But, I think you're right, man. I think we gotta hit on at least one of those in free agency.
Yeah. Mike Witt with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says, I don't know how high you have Vinny Anthony Jr. in your rankings, but as a late round flyer, I wouldn't hate it. Guy can really fly. He is on our special teams list. All right. I believe that's him, right? He said Vinny Anthony is not. No, yeah, he is. We've got him at 406, Mike. That would say he's not draftable, right? However, if you take a 7th round pick on a guy that you think is going to be a good kick returner, don't hate it. Don't hate it at all, right? Because, how often do 7th round picks turn into something great? Now, if you get someone who could play a role on the team, obviously that'd be huge. Then Mike Witt with another one. Big Citrus is my draft crush. Watch his tape. He really flashes. Would love to draft him at 52. We've got Big Citrus in the 99 spot. So 52 would be a little rich. 82, I don't hate it,
I've only been able to get him at 52, though.
Right.
Just in a couple of test mocks, it's really hard to get him beyond that.
Yep. So, again, thank you for those super chats, Mike. You're the man. All right. So we got to make a decision here. If we go D tackle, it's Caleb Proctor out of southeastern Louisiana, right? Mm-hmm. The grades are great, but who did they play? I mean, you don't even notice any of these logos, right? These look like high school logos. So
But do you think he'd be a good developmental player? And is that something you want to do at D tackle when we're looking for a dog to come in and start eating right away, right?
Right. Can't expect that with Caleb Proctor. And he's 280 pounds, which that's more along the line of put 5 pounds on him and maybe he can play a 3 tech. But how is he going to play with extra weight? Those are things that come into play. But again,
asking a lot and expecting a lot out of a rookie from a small school, right?
Absolutely. So we know we need a tight end, right? I think we would all agree we need a tight end. Remember, we didn't bring anybody back. We didn't sign anybody. So Quay hit free agency. He's gone. Let's take a look at linebacker and see if anything pops along with tight end. When we look at the tight end cheat sheet, Kazoyle's in the 85 spot. He's available. I've got another guy, Andres, Endries. He is already gone, so he's not available. Trigg is already gone, right? I don't see Trigg on this list. Stowers and Sadiq are obviously gone. Max Clare is gone from Ohio State as well. So it would hands down be Tanner Kazoyle here if we wanted to go tight end. And listen, Tanner Kazoyle is 85th on our board. Now keep in mind he's going to be more of a flex tight end, right? He's going to be that guy that flexes out and kind of plays a slot bully look, that type of thing. Think Musgrave rather than Kraft. And you can see why. I mean, his yards per route ran 2.26. That's through the roof. Receiving grade 87.3. Contested catch rate 74.1. Run block grade 10 46. So this is a pass catching tight end. But again, great value there. As you can see in 2024, he was 87.9, and in 2025 was 78.9.
Yeah, we're not going to expect him to be in line, right? We're thinking another target, right? A receiving threat.
Yeah. So we've got that narrowed down. Now let's look at linebacker and see if we got anybody on our cheat sheet here. At linebacker, do we have Harold Perkins? We do not. We know we're going Kazoil if we go tight end here. So let's reset. Perkins, Heineke, Boetcher, nope. Gentry, nope. Yeah, so all of our guys seem to be gone.
Scooty Williams out of A&M.
It's the coolest name in the draft.
Name of the draft right there.
No doubt about it. Yeah, all of our linebackers are gone. So if we were sticking strictly to the board here, we would probably go – I mean, we could go offensive line again if y'all wanted to, but I think the pick should be tight end Kazoil.
Yeah.
It's either him or Proctor. So let's do it. Let's run it through that filter, Tim. Proctor, average draft position is 183, right? Kazoil is 163. So if we went Kazoil here, we may be able to get Proctor next, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All
My
right.
board is tight end.
Chuck Jagger says, yes, please. Love a tight end pick here. All right. And most people were kind of talking about that too, right?
Yep.
Chuck Jagger says, imagine 2 good/great pass catchers at tight end. We can go big most of the game and make teams go to base. It's a great point, Chuck. Great point. But Mart always points out too, no block, no rock, because Oil won't see a lot of targets with a laughing emoji. Listen, Musgrave got some targets, and I think we would all agree he's not great at blocking, right? So Mike Z.
Although he has improved a little bit.
He has.
He was a dumpster fire, at first, but
I
think he's sorted up a little bit.
Yeah, completely agree. Mike Z, been a member for 3 months. Is Tom, as some pundits say, a Pro Bowl caliber center, fellas? I've heard that he's an all-pro caliber center. That's been said since day one. They thought, no, actually, that's not what they said. Like year 2 that he was in, there was a comment that was made that Zach Tom would be a great tackle, an all-pro guard, and a Hall of Fame center is what they said. So that's what makes Blake Miller so intriguing. Like if you draft a Blake Miller and you could kick him into Tom's spot and put Tom at center, holy cow. You know what I mean? Like that fixes if Blake Miller ends up being a good tackle. Who knows if he's going to be, right? Because all these
Tom coming off an injury too, though.
He is.
And if you're talking about getting into OTAs and camp, how many reps is he going to be able to, if you're trying to move him in there, how soon can we get him working with the quarterbacks and in the O-line at the center position, right? Or is it something he's going to, we've had that scenario before, you're playing musical chairs at center all throughout camp. And then here we are, week 1 is, on the way and we're plugging and playing a guy at center. So I don't want to be in that boat again.
Yeah, definitely. Chuck Jagger's getting on everybody. And he says only 15 likes. We suck in this chat. If y'all would take a quick second, spin those laces like Mike Z says, smash that like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. Sorry for the hiccup in the internet. We're going to wrap up soon because it's going to go again. I promise you. It's been doing this all week. So we'll wrap this up soon. So yeah, I think it's hands down. Let's go Tanner Kazoil here. Let's go tight end, get that out of the way. So we're going to go tight end Kazoil, and then we will start to patch everything else together. So there you go. Green Bay Packers are going to take tight end Kazoil out of Houston, another receiving threat. Logan Jones available here. That's really interesting. Logan Jones out of Iowa, PFF 65, 83, 79. He's one of those guys that late in the draft, Tim.
Yeah.
If you find yourself not taking a center or you want to add to the center room, maybe Logan Jones on down the stretch would be a decent pick. But now,
he could play guard too, it looks like, right? A little bit of guard.
Let's see if our boy Proctor is still there or not. Caleb Proctor is gone. So we lost the defensive tackle, Caleb Proctor. We did nothing at defensive tackle in this draft, which sucks, which leads more, validity to what Tim said, that free agency, if you're going to make a move at D tackle, you probably need to do it in free agency. And again, Onyemata, Logan Hall, or Calais Campbell. So if we just kind of reset the board, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time going through the entire board. Is there any of these guys that grab our attention? Where's Logan Jones at? Would it be wrong to take Logan Jones here, Tim?
I don't think so. Like I said, especially a guy who can also be interior backup depth at either one of the guard positions, as well as being an option at center.
And Logan Jones on our board, guys, he's in the 116 spot. You're talking about great value right here. So what if we double dipped at center here? That's what Janice says. There you go.
I'm not mad at that at all.
I mean, there's nothing else that really pops. Maybe let's take a quick look at corner. Let's remember Logan Jones. Don't let me forget that. If we go to corner, you've got Damani Jackson. I mean, obviously, we're out of our top 100 cheat sheet prospects. Is there anybody that grabs our attention here? Let's just take a look since Damani Jackson's the top choice. Let's look. I don't think he's going to get nowhere near. Yeah, he's 216. DJ Harvey is 178. Devonta Smith actually was supposed to be a safety, and they got him listed as a corner out of Notre Dame. He's way down, close to the 370 mark. Sierra Wright is where are they at? I think that's how you say it. Sierra Wright. Yeah, he's 414. So yeah, I mean the pick right here it's definitely Logan Jones, no doubt about it. So
I agree.
Let's run it. So we're going to double dip at center in this draft. Who knows? Maybe Logan Jones ends up being better than Coogan. You never know.
Could be.
Yep. With the 200th pick, the Green Bay Packers are selecting Logan Jones, center out of Iowa.
Iowa.
Right.
Now let's look at Stackbacker.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something there. That's really the only thing we haven't hit. Let's go.
I like Jack Kelly out of BYU.
Okay.
I don't know where we have him on the board.
Let's see here.
Might be a reach. He might be there at 254.
How about we just take the best
Scooby?
Yeah, the best name. How about we just take the best name? Let's go with the best linebacker on our board. So, Tim, I'm going to rattle these off. Actually, let's just take a look. Lander Barton. Where's Barton at? Barton he's got a 154.8 grade. Not bad. Scooby Williams is way down the list at 259. Jaden Duggar, I hardly know her. Duggar is, I don't even see him. Do we not even have him on our board? He might be listed in a different position. So right now it's Lander Barton, hands down. Asante, just looking. Good there. Wade Wooders.
Another good name.
Yeah, it is. He's just nowhere near on our board. Wow. Elarms Orr is one that gets brought up, but Lander Barton's 2 spots higher than him in terms of the position. You said you like Jack Kelly, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking he's a little lower, though.
Yeah, I don't even think we have a grade on him, so we need to grade him out because, like I said, if you said you liked him, we'll take a look at him. What did PFF say? 73, 61, 68. Not horrible grades. Run defense grade's a little bad there, 65.
Yeah.
He may be a hybrid, too. You see the pass rush grade of 77. Missed tackle
I like
rate.
him better at 254 or 57
Yeah.
than right here, yeah.
All right, cool. We're going to go Lander Barton. Anybody opposed in here? What do you think, Tim? You good with it?
I'm good with it unless you want to take a peek at edge or something. I can't really think of anything else, but that might be the best if we're going to go Stackbacker.
Yeah. Packer Doug says, take Scooby for the snacks. I love it. Packer Doug says, wouldas, couldas, shouldas. Donovan Schilling says, need a Scooby on the squad. Just the name only, right? So, all right, let's go Lander Barton with the 236th pick. We're going to Stackbacker out of Utah, Lander Barton. One of those that kind of fits the Jaden Reed mold, 72.2 in 2024, took a dip back in 2025. We'll give him a shot here out of Utah. Lander Barton. All right, so we got a linebacker that made sense on the board. That was actually a really, really good pick for where we took him according to our board.
I agree.
So now we're at 254. We're down to our last 2 picks. This is where it gets interesting, Tim. I want to key in on 2 spots here with the last 2 picks. I want to focus on potential kick return, okay? And I also want to focus on quarterback. I think it would be smart to go quarterback here late. So let's go quarterback. Let's just key in on quarterback for right now. Who would be our pick? You got Cole Payton. This is typically we're going to take Cole Payton or Diego Pavia. This is wild, Tim. Diego Pavia, 5'9", right? Mr. Shrimpo out there. This dude, the Packers met with him at the Senior Bowl. I found this out from Easton Butler yesterday. They actually met with Diego Pavia at the Senior Bowl. Are they willing to take a late-round flyer on Diego Pavia even though he's so short? You know what I mean? Like, that's really interesting. And if we remove the name, we remove the height, and we just stuck strictly to, all right, who is the better player according to our board, and we look at the quarterback position, Diego Pavia has an 86.4 grade. All right. Cole Payton, the Packers have not met with. He's got a 128.7. It's not even close. Like, Diego Pavia grades out so much better than Cole Payton. Same thing with like a Taylon Green, right? Like Taylon Green. Actually, Taylon Green is just below Diego Pavia at 111, a little bit closer, but Diego Pavia is 86.4. So it'd be between Pavia and Taylon Green if we went quarterback here. which makes it really interesting. I want to take Diego Pavia just because the Packers met with him and the board screams it right now. They may have met with him to get some information just to cross him off their board, because you guys know I've talked about him. He's a wildcat. This dude is, I mean, he is crazier than I don't even know what to say to him. This dude is just, he's cut from a different cloth. People either love him or they hate him. So here's the thing. Will he be available when we pick at 257? The average draft position suggests he's not going to be, right? So now if we shift gears into a wide receiver that can kick return, we've got a number of guys on our board here that are much, much later on our board. I think we go Diego Pavia here. So let me hit the super chat and I'll get what Packer Doug said there. Mike Witt with the super chat. Dare I say, with one of our 7th rounders, we take a flyer on a kicker to challenge McManus in training camp, just an option. I don't hate it, Mike. I don't hate it at all, you know. And you know what? If worst case scenario, he takes Haversick's spot on the practice squad if he beats Haverick out, right? And now he's your backup kicker as opposed to Haverick. Could be the case. So I think that is something that I would like to look at on down the road here as we get closer to the draft. Is like I need to compile a list of kickers that we might potentially take. So appreciate the super chat, Mike. I don't hate the idea for sure. Now, Packer Doug says something here about Pavia. He's not likable. You guys know how I feel. I don't like how he carries himself. I don't. It's one of those things that he runs his mouth constantly, right? Something happened when he was at New Mexico State, when they were playing in another stadium or whatever, and they were in town. You know, they get into town a little early or whatever. He went in there and pissed in their weight room, like on their weight bench and stuff. Like he did stuff like that, right? Now, here's the other thing. When you say he's not likable, Packer Doug, if you talk to his teammates, they will die for this guy. They love him. You talk to his coaching staff, they love Diego Pavia. He's kind of, everybody uses the word warrior. This dude's a warrior. Like he's cut from a different cloth. I always have to run it through the filter of what quarterback in the National Football League have you heard about doing antics like that? I'll wait. Baker Mayfield's the closest thing. He grabbed his dang-a-lang on the sideline, right? We remember that against Kansas. That's about the most PG-13 way I could say it, Tim. But
the way I look at it is at least Baker can see over the line.
That's a great point. And Baker isn't the tallest guy either, right? So
he's not the tallest guy. I just feel like is this like a Kyler Murray type of situation? Just physically. I think Anthony Belton out there, you know, like how are you throwing over your guards and your tackles at this level?
Right. And Mike the Superfan says Pavia is Kyler Murray 3.0. Could be, Mike, you know. So you notice I've told you guys I don't like him, and I'm the only one trying to make a case for him. However, the Packers met with him. We'll see what that means. You know, maybe they, like I said, they wanted to kind of have a conversation with him up close and personal and see, okay, would this guy be a head case or not? Could be the case. I'm interested to see how his interviews go at the combine, because if he throws well and everything measures out perfect and he crushes the interviews, you may see him skyrocket. He may be the next Kyler Murray in the sense that he skyrockets up the boards. Now, obviously that worked out for Arizona, but so Mike is anti-Pavia, right? Janice says Peyton is the better choice. Is there anybody? There's nobody in here that's saying draft Pavia, so I'm not going to choose him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to choose him if that's if that's how everybody feels. So let's do it. Let's go Cole Payton here, and then we'll come back and we will get our kick returner next, because I definitely want to see how that would shake out. So we went here, Tim, with the 150 or the 254th pick. We went quarterback Cole Payton. All right. So now let's have some fun at kick returner before we wrap up. Hopefully the internet will hold on just a little bit longer for us here. So when it comes to kick returner, Tim, here's the list of guys that I have. Concepcion, he's the 28th best prospect, long gone. Branch, 56, long gone. Jadarian Price, 60, long gone. Now we got Burks at 146. I can't imagine Burks is still available. Let's just double check, though, and see if we have a Burks. Ethan Burks, that's out of Texas. That is not our guy. It was a D Burks, so he is not available. Beatty, I think it was Hank Beatty, I believe it was. Beatty's there. So here's the case I would make for Beatty. He was listed in the top 10 in kick/punt returners, okay? And that was yards per return attempt. He's the highest on our board at 281. They've got his average draft position at 237. Now, I know Weegan is the guy that everybody loves, right? And he is gone. So he's already gone. So he's not even an option. So don't get mad at me that we didn't get Weegan. I would like to have him too, but obviously he's long gone. And he's low on our board at 413. So you'd be getting him strictly for return purposes, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
So
or you're rolling the dice that he goes undrafted. And
right.
Yeah.
So Beatty would be the pick here, unless, let's see here, Henderson, Aljay Henderson. That is not him. Okay. Who would be the next one here? Another one people like is Vinny Anthony, right? And he's gone too, so that gets me off the hook there. So this makes.
So we only have one that's in our list, right?
Yeah, it would have.
It would available.
It would have to be Beatty for sure. Who are you asking about, Mike? Where did Week go? Who's Week? Oh, I bet he's talking about Weegan, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's talking about, okay, let's see if we can call him back. It's maybe hard to figure out, but obviously we're just looking for an Iowa logo. There's TJ Hall. He went 227. Yeah, this is going to be like threading the needle here. Give me just a second. Let's see if we can find him. If you guys spot him, if you spot him, call him out. So we took Logan Jones at pick 200. It looks like Weegan was already gone before then. So Weegan, damn, I didn't miss him, did I, Tim? Did he go that early, really? That's wild.
Wow.
That's crazy if he went that early. There's Llewellyn at 156. There's Bo Stevens at 151. Did Weegan go before him? There's Coleman. I don't even see him. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time scrolling here and people just listening to me read names.
I'm in shock, though. Could he have gone this high, third or fourth round? No way.
There's no way, right? Yeah. Like I said, I may have overlooked him here. Hopefully I didn't. Let me just scroll down a little bit more, and then we'll finish up this draft for the internet monsters come a-calling here. I don't see him anywhere, dude. Did he go before Logan Jones?
Well, we verified he's not on the board anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let me double check. Maybe I missed it here.
Maybe he's on the board.
Yeah, maybe he's not even on PFF's big board. I mean, I know that sounds silly. Let me open up another window. I just want to check and see where they had him at. I'm pretty sure they had him on their big board.
I thought he was up there.
Let me take a look.
He's not on the board.
And he is a wide receiver, right? So
did this guy go in the second round and we missed it?
Let me see here. Weegan, where are you at, sir? Tim, he's not on the PFF big board. So
wow.
he's not even their database. I'm not finding him here anyway. Let me just double check here. Yeah,
he's on our board though, for sure.
He's definitely on our board. So again, when we look at our board, I'm gonna hop over to wide receiver real quick and find him because I know we got like I said, we got a low grade on him. He's in the 400s or what have you. Let me just do a quick search. That's interesting, man. Are they going to add him? Surely they'll add him. Yeah, he's not on the PFF big board. The consensus big board has him at 214. So this is where we pencil him in on the ballot, right?
Right.
But here's the problem with him. The consensus big board had him at 214. PFF big board doesn't have him at all. Obviously, he didn't make the top 100 or he didn't make the top 180 on Tankathon either. Okay. His PFF grades in 2025 as a wide receiver, 514th at the position. The year before, 750th. So you're strictly getting him just to be a kick returner unless I'm missing something. So, yeah, that's pretty wild. That's going to be interesting to see where he goes. So we would take him. We could potentially take him right here if he was available. Obviously, he is not. So let's just go with Hank Beatty would be our best kick return option. And here's the other thing, too, I want to mention, guys. We could find a much higher value prospect on our board. We could find one in another position right now. We're trying to use the final pick of our draft on a kick return just to kind of see how it shook out because these names are going to continue to pop up. Now, Janice mentions Colin Lacey, right?
Yep.
Colin Lacey is not listed on our potential kick returners for some reason. I know I had him. Oh, no, there he is. Yeah, 407. So the reason we're not going Colin Lacey here, Janice, or we're going Beatty over him is because Beatty is 281 on our board, right? Colin Lacey, 2023 had a great year, 83, 62, 66, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got him at. Now, if we go look at Beatty, let's see if Beatty's looks any different. Because again, yeah, see how he's gotten progressively better too. 49, 74, 82.4 last year.
Wow.
So I feel like Beatty would be the better pick overall value, Janice, as opposed to Lacey, if that makes sense. So that's why we're going to go Beatty here. You good with it, Tim?
The pick is in.
Yeah. All right. As the pick drops, J. Cole says PFF showing that they're too busy driving Ubers instead of adding prospects. There you go. There you go. All right. So with the final pick of our draft, we went wide receiver Hank Beatty and got us a kick returner to add to the fold there. So, all right. So there's the draft. They probably gave us a bag, not a horrible grade, B-. You guys know it's going to look like a reach for Pat Coogan. We had him way higher than where the PFF big board had him. Same thing with Davison Igbinosun. So the actual draft class is with the 52nd pick in the second round, we went Blake Miller, tackle out of Clemson. Third round, pick 84, Davison Igbinosun out of Ohio State. All right. Round 4, pick 120, we went center Pat Coogan. Round 5, pick 158, we went tight end Tanner Kazoil. Round 6, pick 200, we went center Logan Jones. So you're going to have a little competition there with rookies at the center position. Round 7, pick 236, we went Lander Barton, stack backer out of Utah. Round 7, pick 254, we went quarterback Cole Payton out of North Dakota State. And then round 7, pick 257, we went wide receiver / kick returner Hank Beatty.
I like the quarterback pick at 254 there.
I do too.
Dakota State, little continuity with our receivers coach. Got another Bison in the building.
I will say though, Tim, if you remove the name of Diego Pavia, and we just went off the grades, we went off how well he played in the SEC. We went off what his teammates and his coaching staff says about him. We went off just that, and you remove the name Diego Pavia, it wouldn't have even been close for me. I would run the card at pick 254. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to his draft stock. Again, if he was 6'2" and he didn't have the reputation he's got, that dude may be a first round pick. That's what's crazy.
I'd be right there with you. Yeah. That's the part. See that, we talked about D'Angelo Pons being undersized. Mm-hmm. When you're talking about a quarterback being undersized, that I really don't like that. I'm not a fan of short, undersized quarterbacks unless they, are mobile as hell and got wheels, and that's the type of offense you want to run. You want to, run and shoot, run and gun. I just don't see that being a fit here in Green Bay. I just don't.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. It's a very interesting. It's gonna be an interesting case study. And again, the Packers met with him. It's like, they meet with a lot of prospects. The top 30 visits are way more important than just meeting with them at the Senior Bowl and East West Shrine Bowl. But at the same time, they met with him for a reason, right?
Right. So if you were a top 30 visit, we'd really, really have to put a spotlight on him.
Yeah.
I like what you said at the top. For all we know, they met with him just to, check some boxes off and maybe rule him out for all we know,
Yeah. Right. And that could have been the case. They could have, all right, look, make whatever you guys do. Here's a list of 20 guys I want you to meet with at the Senior Bowl. Okay. Make sure we get let me get 2 guys on this. That's what she said. No time, but she did. No time. let me get a couple of different guys, scouts, go interview him. And I want you guys, here's what we're trying to pick up on. Is this dude going to be a head case or not? Right. And it may have been with the idea, like you said, Tim, that, all right, I spoke with him. Let's take him off the board. Maybe
we either want to confirm our suspicions or disregard them, right? Is he going to prove us right or prove us wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, let's see what else is going on here in the chat real quick. Jay Cole says, no defensive tackles, have to trust that what we have will develop. And I don't like that feeling, Jay. I'm sure you don't either, right? It's like, that's why free agency makes a lot of sense, unless you're going to pull the trigger at 52 and maybe reach on a Darrell Jackson or a Big Citrus, according to our board, of course, according to our board. So let's see here.
Campbell looking better by the minute.
Right. Wouldn't hate it. Onyemata, Hall, or Campbell. Hall is an ascending player, a young player. He's the youngest of the 3. Onyemata is probably the best player right now. And Calais Campbell is that dude that he may take a slight step back, but I don't think you're going to see a huge decline. It's like, but again, he's going to be 40 years. I don't know how he's doing it, man. I don't know how he's doing it, but he continues.
Him and Bobby Wagner found that fountain of youth, man.
Yeah. Mark in the chat says it won't be a great draft no matter what, but it will be an important one. Absolutely. Jay Cole says, I know people aren't going to like this, but if you use that same logic for Shedeur Sanders, he should have been a first or a second round pick. I had Shedeur Sanders high on our board. Let me explain real quick where I had him. Give me just a second. Shedeur. Where you at, sir? Give me just a second.
I got the vertical board. Where did we have him?
So we had Shedeur Sanders as the second best quarterback in our
I was
draft.
going to say he's second on our vertical board.
We had him as the second best quarterback in our draft, J. Cole. But Greg Cosell was like, when you watch the tape with Greg Cosell, was like when you watch the Shedeur Sanders tape, there's two things that stick out. There was a lot of screen passes thrown, a lot of underneath stuff thrown. Okay. He didn't showcase this big arm talent, right? But the offense didn't allow him to. Also, he took a lot of sacks. Now, immediately people will say, well, that's because his offensive line sucked, and it's a valid point. However, throughout history, guys who take a lot of sacks in college, most time, 9 times out of 10, they end up taking a lot of sacks in the pros. It's not just about bad offensive line play. It's about not being able to pull the trigger on the right spot at the right time. Now, with what we've seen with Shedeur Sanders, okay, some people loved his tape this year. There's a lot of people that hated his tape. The PFF grades, I think PFF graded him 44, right? So again, our draft board suggested he was the second best quarterback in the draft. So we wasn't hating on him, right?
Yep.
But I listened to Greg Cosell, by the way, said Tyler Shuck's the guy. He's the guy in this draft. And he ended up grading the highest in PFF. He ended up having the better year, I believe, amongst rookie quarterbacks. Because again, it's hard to judge someone like Cam Ward because Tennessee's such a dumpster fire, you know? So,
and it's hard to compare Shedeur to Tyler Shuck because Tyler Shuck had more starts, correct?
Right. And also keep in mind too, Jay, and I know this, I don't think it got politicized, but we know the division that was created with the Shedeur Sanders situation. Some people believe they just hated on him because he was Deion's son or that he was outspoken and this and that. If you're asking me, do I want my quarterback to be flashy? Do I want him flashing the watch on the field and this and that? You know, I don't want that in a quarterback, honestly, because when did you see Tom Brady do that, right? When did you see? I'll tell you one. I'll go way back, like Steve McNair, former MVP. He didn't act like that, right?
Yep.
That's a guy that comes to mind as like a blue collar type, just a hardworking quarterback. You didn't see Peyton do that. I knew Peyton was in commercials and this and that. I got you. Aaron Rodgers, the belt, right? Like a little bit flashy. You could say that he was cocky when he was younger, I guess. But when you kind of compare him to, like, say, a Diego Pavia, Shedeur didn't come across like that, like Diego Pavia did. So it's not quite that bad. But the other thing to take into consideration, Jay, now I'm not trying to change your mind, but it's pretty much common knowledge now that Baltimore wanted to draft him way earlier in the draft. And he told him I don't want y'all to draft me. Okay. Now, however you feel about that, I can understand people being on different sides of the fence. But in one hand, you go, hold up a minute. Who the hell do you think you are saying, I don't want to play for this team? You should want to go to wherever people want to draft you, right? So I don't think that's necessarily a positive. However, his reasoning behind it was, I know I'm not going to get a chance to win a job because Lamar Jackson's so good. So you can kind of respect that. He wants to play. He wants an opportunity to prove his worth, right? So it's an interesting conversation for sure, Jay, but we did have him listed as our second best quarterback for sure. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Mike Z with the super chat says, as always, thank you, PTA, for making all this happen. We are all blessed. This will be our year. Let's go, Pack, go. Thank you so much, Mike. You're always too kind, buddy. Appreciate you. I'm always love getting in here talking mock drafts with y'all. This is fun. So we get our hardcore fan base in here, right?
Oh, yeah.
That want to talk drafting. And again, when we do these drafts, it's not look at how good of a draft we can put together. As you can obviously see, I'm not crazy about this draft, but we're gathering information each time, right? And the board's constantly shuffling outside of our board. So it's fun to get in here and kind of look and see, all right, what did we learn today? Probably want to go center and defensive tackle in free agency, and then grab a corner in the draft, because we could have taken either D'Angelo Ponce or Chris Johnson at 52. Those make a lot of sense. So yeah, it's always a lot of fun. But one last comment here from J. Cole. He says, Shuck proved me wrong. Proved a lot of people wrong, Jay.
Yep.
And I wasn't crazy about it. You guys know I removed my personal opinion. I'm just going strictly off what the data and the board says. And Greg Cosell, boy, he got that one wrong. He said Shedeur showed flashes this year, and Cleveland was a dumpster fire. That is very true. Very true. Great defense. Offense was horrible, right? So, Valid point. All right, Tim, you got anything else, bub? We good?
No, this was great. I can't wait to do another mock, man.
Yeah, we will, man. We're going to do – I'm excited to get the guys in here, and let's go through an entire off season too using Stick to the Model. We need to do that soon where we get everybody in and do the cuts and the edits and all that stuff. That'll be a lot of fun. We might do that. I don't know if we'll be able to get to it tonight. We may do it tonight. I'll let you guys know if I can find some time to do a stream this evening. And again, I apologize for the internet. Appreciate everybody hanging out in here with us and fought through it. Hopefully, Tim, you were able to say something like, "Hey, all right, we lost Clayton," and then give me time to jump in on the phone.
My end froze too, so I don't know if StreamYard just seized up. So I lost my camera.
Could have been. All right. So that's it, guys. There you go. There's your mock draft. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think about that mock and what we learned in terms of what we're trying to accomplish at each position and where the strengths and weaknesses are in this class. Hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon, and we will be back possibly later today, especially if news breaks. I'll just go live, just like we've been covering all the coaching changes and all that. So just keep your bell icon click there so you don't miss out on it when news does break. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I want to give a special shout out to Mike Witt with the super chats, Mike Z being a member, Mike Witt with the super chat again. Of course, Mike Z with the super chat there. We greatly appreciate y'all supporting the stream. And also, as always, the best way to support what we do here at PTA is join our Patreon group. You can find that at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. $3 access to everything over there, all the articles, the draft board. You actually have a link directly to our draft board that we were talking about in the first segment in the show. You get that. And anything, typically, if we got breaking news, I'll throw an article up real quick, break the news on Patreon, and then we'll jump in here and talk about it on the live stream. So again, if you guys, the show is free. Don't feel obligated to join the Patreon group. Okay, Patreon group is there for people who want to support the show, and we try to give you a little extra added value there as well. You guys are just as valuable, just as important as anyone who's in a Patreon group or anybody who does super chat. Please understand that. We appreciate every like. We appreciate every view, and especially the interaction in the chat itself. So everybody have a great day. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. That's Tim. Go Pack, go.
There we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.